to this bonus episode for episode, oh dear, should have looked this up first. Episode number 59.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Almost to 60.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
That's cool.
Look at that.
Yeah, episode 59. Okay, so I was going to start us out on a light note here, and that is, how much is a homer?
Oh, yeah.
How much is a homer?
How
And
much
is it a
homer of
quail? A
quails?
homer of quails?
Yeah.
So, no, a homer is
Oh.
just a measurement of volume or weight. Volume, actually.
Okay.
So unlike a lot of the other units of measurement we've gotten, which are weight measurements, this one's actually a volume measurement.
Interesting.
Okay, like this
Like a
cup
liter.
is
yeah.
holding a volume of
Like that's
beer.
a pint, which a pint doesn't measure weight, it measures volume.
volume.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so how many pints of quails are in a homer is the question here.
Oh gosh.
So I found this article by this dude named James Sutherland, who went into way more detail
Than you
about
ever
this
needed.
homers of quail thing than was necessary.
Okay.
So first of all, he does talk about the difference between the California quail, which is the one that we're familiar with from Looney Tunes and stuff, when they have the little birds with the little
They're so cute.
Was that in Looney Tunes?
Yeah.
apparently, or maybe not Looney Tunes, but the other ones.
See, I only knew them from real life,
The
growing up
Merry-
in California with
Merry
a bunch
Melodies or whatever the
of little...
other,
okay.
you know,
Sure.
the ones that weren't Looney Tunes.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they're all over the place in Arizona.
Yeah.
Just everywhere.
Yeah.
They're so cute. Oh, my
Right, it's like the
goodness.
one that has the feather that sticks
The
out the top of
little-
the head
yeah.
and falls forward into its eyes, and he constantly has to blow it out of his eyes.
see.
That's the character from the cartoon.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a California quail. Not the same thing that they had out
So
there.
is it like a button quail?
What do you mean
They're-
a button quail?
Button quail. My best friend in high school had 2 button quail as pets.
Well,
They're just
it called
kind
a
of tiny and round and cute. They don't have the little thingy like the California quail
Oh,
do
I'm
at the
looking
top of
that
their
up,
head.
yeah.
Yeah,
so
Google them.
the one that would have existed in this part of the world is the common quail.
Oh,
It's the name of it, and it's a
How
member.
boring.
It's a member of the pheasant family.
interesting.
So this author is proposing they would have been quite delicious, actually. But they're very small. So like they're a little over 7 inches long.
Huh.
So pretty small and only weigh about 4 ounces.
I see.
Wow.
And it's not an endangered species, so it's all right to eat.
Eat homers and homers of them.
Homers and homers of them. So now you're, of course, asking
What
how
is a
much
homer?
would that be? So basically, a homer is 220 liters.
That's a lot.
That's about 58 gallons.
Okay,
58.
That's a ton.
Okay, so,
So
That's a
the
the first was
gathered
10
No,
homers?
the-
10 homers minimum.
How
yeah,
many freaking quails do they have?
So he puts that, he said, he gathered at least 580 gallons of little birds, or 18 garbage cans full of
That's
birds.
horrifying. That's horrifying and awful.
So this freaking like tidal wave of birds just
Yeah.
rolled in.
That's about 3 cubic yards of birds, if you prefer to measure it that
Okay.
way. Or enough to fill the bed of a full-size pickup truck to overflowing
Of just little birds.
of
you
little dead
imagine?
birds. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
This
Gosh.
is so awful.
That'd take a lot of
They were
processing.
endangered species after that.
Apparently not, because they're still going strong today.
All I can say is that the California quail is the most attractive of all the quail. It's
It is-
so
it
adorable.
is cute, yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
All right, sorry. Yes.
And then he goes on to this long tangent about how to determine how much weight of quails that is. And he goes into this whole thing about airplane manufacturers using bird carcasses to test whether planes can withstand hitting birds and not crashing.
Oh.
And that they use frozen chicken for it, apparently.
I have heard that.
Good.
Anyway.
I mean, not good, but
Not
I'm glad
good, yeah.
that they don't like hurl live
Live birds.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then he kind of goes on to just sort of do some of the math that we've talked about on past bonus episodes
Okay.
of this idea that if we believe these numbers of people,
Right.
that we're also talking about like 2.4 million people
yeah.
Jeez.
all in
Yeah.
this tribe altogether, and just kind of how absurd that is, right?
Yeah.
Also, so then he totaled up like how many birds that would have been based on this math, and it would have been 1.14 billion
Wow.
quail.
Wow.
If it was that many people.
If that many people had gathered at least that
Good
many.
Lord.
And he says that's 7 times how many common quail are thought to be alive today.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Why does that happen? Like, all of these weird numbers are just completely incorrect.
Yeah. Well, he kind of closes it by being like, but really, the point of this isn't the exact numbers, it's the message of the story or whatever, the lesson.
Okay.
So he's like, so I'll give the
What
Bible
is
a
the
break on this
lesson?
one. It's fun to do the math, but it's not fun to think about what 500 swimming pools worth of dead birds would smell like.
Also, all the processing that would take to actually get them edible, right? Because it's like you got to get their
That's
little
how that plague
feathers
happened.
off,
Everyone
and
was too hungry, and they just kind
they
of
just kind of stuffed them right in their
Thumped
mouths.
them,
And
boy.
yeah, what you got, Emily? Other than a sad face for us right now.
Very sad face. These poor birdies. I sent you a very cute picture of a California quail.
Oh,
These very,
that's
they're
nice.
two little
great.
fat
Little-
roundies.
little
Little fat roundies.
Yes,
oh,
they're
they are very
so
cute.
Okay. All right. I looked up why. Why did God punish Miriam when it
Oh,
was
yeah.
both her and Aaron who spoke against Moses
What
in
kind of
Numbers
apologist?
12?
What kind of apologist crap did you find?
All right, well, here. So the summary of this long, ridiculous article that I read, I mean, I guess it wasn't ridiculous, but it says this. It says, God directed his anger toward Miriam because she was taking to herself a role that wasn't hers.
Oh, I
Whoa.
see. Because she was a woman.
Out of line.
Yes,
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
so. The same rebuke
boy.
also applied to Aaron, yet it seems he already acknowledges his sin and
Oh.
petitions on behalf of
Oh.
Miriam.
Does it seem that
Oh,
way?
does he now?
So
Oh.
Aaron, in ministering, okay, this is really why, because Aaron is the high priest.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
that's what
he's
we
the
thought.
high priest,
Obvi.
and he acknowledges his and Israel's iniquities before God and consequently makes his plea to Moses, who intercedes for them. So God restores both of them and gives them an object lesson, lest they forget. Yeah, so
Boy, oh boy.
basically, yes. Essentially, it's just saying, like, well, Miriam takes the axe in this situation, and it may be for the reasons suggested above. God may have been protecting the office of the high priest. So, yeah, it says if Aaron was unclean by reason of leprosy, there would be no high priest for the people, or Miriam for that matter. Yes.
Like that she wouldn't have a priest. You mean.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
So this is
Cool.
the
No,
second
that's what I
time
said,
Aaron
like-
has skated on punishment, is what
Yeah.
it says. Yeah.
Yahweh kind of painted himself into a corner, I think, with Aaron. I think he just sort of, he like partnered with the wrong business partner, and now he's kind of stuck.
Right.
Yeah,
He's
but
paying
what
for
can he
it.
do? What can he
Yeah.
do?
Jeez.
So,
Well,
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but of course, like, so Aaron recognizes he and Miriam sin, but because he is the big brouhaha
yeah.
Right.
in this situation, he gets to skate by again.
Yeah. Classic Aaron.
I know. I feel really bad for Miriam, honestly. Poor lady.
I feel like of all the things that have happened to people, though, this actually is not so bad.
It's
Yeah.
true. It could have been much worse.
Could have
for
been
her.
worse, yeah.
It really could have been much worse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you want to talk about apologetics?
Oh boy, do I love 'em.
Apologetics.
Okay, so
It's like like that article you just read. People kind of trying
Oh.
these roundabout ways of making excuses for shit.
yeah, so you want to talk about apologetics? So I initially was Googling what's up with this plague that all these people died from after eating the quail. You
Right.
know, like what's that about? And it brought me to a very interesting site.
Of course.
Now,
Of course.
the content of the page that I was on was being like, the question posed on this particular page of this site was, how could God bring judgment on the people for eating this quail that he himself provided?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know? And again, it is this very apologetic sense of, yes, the Lord provided it, but he did warn them that like, they're not going to want to eat it. And then they didn't listen to him, and then they were
Oh, is
punished.
that right?
They were
Is that
punished
right?
for their lustful and unrepentant attitude and ungrateful hearts, not because they ate the meat. But okay, this site is a site called defendinginerrancy.com.
Oh boy.
Now-
Inerrancy?
Oh,
What does that
boy.
mean?
I'm going to get into what inerrancy is, but first I want you to click on the link because their logo,
Oh, damn it.
their logo, I cannot not see their logo looking just like a butt with an arrow coming out of it.
Wait, what? Where did you send?
It's in the doc. Just
Oh,
click
gosh,
on
okay.
defendinginerrancy.com.
Okay.
That's all I can see. I'm assuming it's supposed to be like a book, like
It says we're in serious danger. Oh,
do you see
Oh,
that
I
logo?
see.
See how it's a butt,
butt
with
with
an arrow coming out of it?
yeah.
Like-
It's like the farts flying out of your
Correct.
butt.
Yeah.
Standing up for the Bible before it's too late.
Okay, no, I don't want you all to get distracted
Okay.
clicking through the site.
Too late.
Because I already have done it for you.
Yeah.
We're in
So,
serious
Okay.
danger, okay?
okay, really though?
I love that
Okay,
there's a
okay.
hand and it's the hand of God. And it's also like, is my hand too short?
Has he always hand grown short?
Okay, so this is what I've learned
What?
is inerrancy is this belief that no, Bible is fundamentally true. There's
Right,
no
right.
mistakes, there's no errors,
There's
there's
no
no
contradictions.
contradictions,
Yep.
there's no nothing no,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Uh-huh.
So this site is dedicated to they have a list by book of the Bible of every single supposed contradiction, and they explain why no, not a contradiction.
Of course not.
No.
Oh, and
No.
look at all of these beautiful white men.
Well,
These
they
old...
are a bunch of
Is that their
beautiful
board of
old-
directors?
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a person... Oh, nope, there's one person of color.
Okay, cool.
I see one, and no women.
Now, I'm
Surprise,
kind of
surprise.
torn about this site because on the one hand, I'm kind of like fundamentalism.
Right.
On the other hand, I'm like, this is going to give us a lot of bonus content.
Yeah, I know.
Good point. Good point.
Of what do the inerrants believe? Like, how do they explain this stuff? How do they bend over backwards to explain this stuff? So it was definitely quite interesting. You can go buy each book and see how they explain how the Bible really is perfect and true and doesn't have any errors, issues whatsoever. They have a whole section about how to answer critics. So kind of
Oh,
how to
God,
respond to the
please,
common critics
please.
of inerrancy.
Tell me.
One of them talking about so I guess a common objection is that inerrancy is based on supposedly the idea that the original text of the Bible is inerrant, but that doesn't actually exist. It
Right,
is-
and that the translations are where it got
Yes.
screwed up. Okay.
Well, no. But people are saying yes, that this is what they say. They say the translations got screwed up, but people are saying, but you don't even have an original. We don't even have an original text
Right,
to go off
right.
of.
Okay.
And they're like, yeah, we do. We don't have an original manuscript, but we have an original text. But then it's
what is
but
that?
It's okay. They somehow it's they've set up this idea that it's no. It's like the copies of the Bible are where things started getting haywire. There's copies and translation errors, but that's where things start getting haywire. But that's based on the original text. We don't have an original manuscript, as in the original piece of paper that this stuff was written down on. We do have parchment that that original text was copied from perfectly,
Oh, yeah?
and that's in
yeah?
It's yeah.
Where? That thing would be worth all the money.
Well, I mean, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess we got pieces of
we
it.
we do have pieces of.
The Bible?
I was not under the
Yes.
impression that those significantly changed those pieces of information.
No,
that,
no, it's really.
wow, that's
It is
interesting.
fascinating
Yeah.
because they're seriously just no. There's no errors.
So why did you look this up again?
Well, I was Googling about the plague and then ended up on this
Okay,
site,
okay,
and then I
okay.
went down this rabbit hole. But it's
And then
just,
you're like, I'm ready. Let's talk.
there's
about
also this whole section on their site where they're there's a page called "Should We Break Fellowship?" and it's basically
what
the
is
idea.
fellowship
Well, it's basically
of the ring.
No, it's basically debating if other Christians aren't on board with this super airtight
Whoa.
inerrancy doctrine, should we be friends with them?
Whoa.
And they kind of come to the conclusion of no,
No.
We shouldn't be friends.
we shouldn't seek unity over orthodoxy, essentially.
Wow. So
Yeah.
It's more important to believe this.
It's more important to believe that we are 100% right
than to,
But it's
than
listen
to
like-
band
anyone
together
else.
with other
Yeah.
Christians
Right.
in love and unity and compassion and community,
Wow.
Love, unity, compassion, community. She just said that. Wow.
So
That's a lot.
Yeah, I didn't know that this was a thing. I knew that fundamental evangelism and stuff like that was a thing, but this is it sounds like the extreme version of it, where Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Boy.
I have a feeling we're going to be revisiting this site
Okay.
in
All right.
future bonus content. So that's
Well.
what we got.
Well, to close us out for this bonus content, I have a little bit on Nephilim.
Oh,
Now, do you remember learning about them earlier in the Bible?
Who?
Back in Genesis?
Nephilim?
Oh,
This
did
is
we?
not the first time we've come across the Nephilim.
Is it not? I don't remember. No.
I don't know what this is.
The giants that they talked about now
There are
seeing
giants in the sky.
right, or in Canaan.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they saw the giants. They called them Nephilim,
Okay.
though, right?
Okay.
So this is actually something that came from Genesis 6. The quote goes, "The Nephilim were in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them.
Right. I remember now.
The same were the mighty men that were of old, the men of renown."
Okay.
So I remember at the time we were like, wait,
What?
the sons of God
God.
and daughters of men, are those humans? Are these gods? Are these angels? Are these what?
Yeah,
And basically, every other scholar has had the same debate.
Okay. Of course. Well.
Where there's big schools of belief that they are angels, or that they're like half angels, basically, that it was that the sons of God in this case were angels of some sort, some kind of divine being who mated with human women and created these Nephilim.
Okay.
Who
are
Cool.
giants?
Very, very mythological.
very
Yeah.
mythological, right? And actually, it's funny. My roommate and I have been playing Diablo 3, and in that, like, your character is a Nephilim, which is the
Oh,
explanation for why
interesting.
you're so powerful, and
Right.
you know why
Wow.
you're the one who can save the world from the forces of evil and the corrupted forces of heaven and whatever. Is
It's
'cause
like in
you're
Skyrim, you're a dragon.
a Duvahkiin.
Yeah. What is it? A dragon what? Born.
Dragon-
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn,
Dragonborn.
yeah.
Dragonborn. Whew.
Anyway, yeah, so there's like some interpretations, though, like some translations, starting I think with the King James Bible was one of the big ones that started this, was translating it just as giants, just calling them giants.
Oh.
But there's others that think of them more as fallen angels.
Huh. Wait,
Um,
why are they fallen? That sounds like they're archangels, or
Archangels are like the highest angels.
that they're like bad angels.
Well, apparently this partly seems to come from the fact that Nephilim, or like the word that this comes from in Hebrew, also means fallen. And so it's this question of like, is that what this is supposed to mean? So sometimes they're called the fallen ones, or the ones who fall on their enemies, as in like they're just powerful warriors.
I see.
Like
You
they
know?
like
They're
from
like
the
they're
sky,
so
they're
tall.
ambushing them.
They're so freaking tall. They just like topple over onto
Yeah,
them.
they're ambushing their
Right.
enemies from the air. They're like,
Okay.
"Wah!
Yeah.
I've fallen on you."
Yeah. But there have been other people who, you know, have really spoken out against this idea of them being any sort of divine being and just being like, no, no, no. Jesus said that angels don't marry. So obviously they wouldn't have had sex with anyone if they weren't married. So definitely
course.
that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But they did.
We don't know.
Okay.
But I did find some fun things from like other cultures and mythologies, though, real quick, that I just wanted to end with here.
Okay.
So in Aramaic culture, the term Nephilim, or Nephila in Aramaic, I guess, refers to the constellation of Orion, and the Nephilim are the offspring of Orion
Okay.
in mythology, like in their mythology. However, some people argue that's a dubious etymology that might not be connected. Others have talked about the Apkallu tradition, which is a Sumerian mythology where there were 7 legendary culture heroes from before the flood, because they also had a flood mythology, who were of human descent but possessed extraordinary wisdom and like power from the gods. And they were called the sons of Ea, who's the Babylonian god. They were called the sons of God, even though they were actually just humans.
Huh.
So like maybe it was just a term based
It's
on
like the
that.
wise men in Legend of Zelda.
Maybe, yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, defending inerrancy, it does say there are several possible interpretations other than insisting that angels cohabited with humans.
Right, yeah.
Because
so I figured
they
they'd
would
be on
not
board with
do
that.
that, obviously.
No, there are some like Orthodox rabbis I talked about in here who like literally set a curse on anyone who promotes the idea that angels
Jeez.
mated with humans or whatever. It's just like, oh gosh,
Wait, what?
Boy.
What about it?
that they set a curse on
Oh.
gosh, what was I can't find the quote right now, but it was something about like actually, yeah. Okay. This is Orthodox Judaism has taken a stance against the idea that Genesis 6 refers to angels or that angels could intermarry with men. Shimon bar Yochai pronounced a curse on anyone teaching this idea.
Whoa.
And others followed suit and also pronounced a curse upon people who taught this idea. Anyway, then there's another one that they were believed to maybe be Arab pagans that were sent to Earth in the form of men. So it could have actually come from, which makes sense a little bit if you're seeing them in the land of Canaan, which is all these other religions and cultures that are not yours.
Yeah.
And then this is the last one that I thought was great. The title of this heading is Fossil Remains. Cotton Mather believed that fossilized leg bones and teeth discovered near Albany, New York in 1705 were the remains of Nephilim who perished in the Great Flood.
Okay.
However, paleontologists have identified these as mastodon remains.
That sounds about right.
It's a big cover-up. It's a big cover-up from
Actually,
big,
that's
big paleontology.
Not a person, okay? That's
Oh
just
my
not-
God.
Wow. Well, I think that all of us should take this Bible petition.
What's
and
the petition?
It says, I affirm that the Bible alone and in its entirety is the infallible written word of God in the original text and is therefore inerrant in all that it affirms or denies on whatever topic it addresses. Whatever.
Real broad strokes there.
Yeah.
Just, wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Actually, let's not. Let's not
on
say we
second
did.
thought, on second thought, maybe not do that.
Yeah, well, if you want to see this exciting thing for yourself, go check out defendinginerrancy.com. And if you're more in our camp, then come back and join us next week on Drunk Bible Study.